Hi, welcome to Cuisine, and today we're giving our American guests a cooking lesson. Our chef here is Gabriel, who's from Bahia, and he's going to be demonstrating Moqueca de Camarão. So, welcome and good luck.
Thank you. Welcome to our cooking lesson. Tell us about the ingredients. Explícanos los ingredientes.
Limão,
Limes,
leite de coco,
coconut milk.
camarão em pó,
This is shrimp powder.
amendoim em pó,
I don't know what that is, amendoim. Es como, okay?
peanut powder, amendoim
Okay.
em pó,
Oh, it's peanut powder,
castanha em pó,
also nut powder of some kind,
brownie powder,
brown powder.
temperos, onions,
Green peppers, red peppers, tomatoes, and onions.
coco,
Coconut.
pimentas,
Esos son calientes.
pimentas doces,
They are sweet little peppers.
azeite de dendê,
And this is vinegar. No, this is oil. Oil de palmas.
isso, pantola,
This is palm oil.
spice,
This is cilantro. No,
cilantro,
no, eso es. Let's see.
coentro
Oh, yes, cilantro.
e cebola.
Yes, this is what's it called in English?
Green onions.
Green onion. Y camaraos.
Cebola.
¿Cuántos camaraos?
2 quilos.
2 kilos of camaraos or shrimp, which is approximately 4.5 pounds. This isn't para 4 personas. This is for 4 people.
Primeiro, pó,
We'll take the onion. Let's try not to fry here, okay? Yes. Without the skin, peel off the skin, right? Here's how you can tell a real chef. Because with his hands, he's able to make everything nice and even. We've now finished with cutting of our 3 onions into little slices, and we're going to move on to the peppers and the vegetables in general. We have 2 green peppers, 1 red pepper, and 5 tomatoes.
vamos cortar.
And now we're going to cut the peppers.
Ou assim, ou assim.
Okay. Then he flattens it and he cooks it into nice, even pieces. To add color, we put a yellow pepper and a red pepper. Sí. Tú fuiste al colegio de cocina, ¿verdad?
Sim.
Aquí en Salvador,
Na Argentina e no México também.
in Argentina and New Mexico. So you went to cooking school in Salvador, in Argentina, and in Mexico. What is the most difficult part about cooking Bahian food?
Não tem dificuldade, é fácil.
O sea,
A mistura, a maior
los
dificuldade
ingredientes.
encontrar os ingredientes e a mistura, a junção deles. Então, uma mistura errada, você pode perder toda a sua preparação.
He says to find the right mix of ingredients is very complicated sometimes.
Por exemplo,
These are hot peppers.
essa não.
This is not a hot pepper.
Você colocar uma dessas pimentas a mais em qualquer comida baiana, você pode perder. Você não consegue comer, fica muito forte.
If you put even one of these into a dish, you might as well throw it away because it's that strong. So
Todas elas ardem muito.
this is very, very, very spicy. Esta es lo más.
Não. E elas atingem tanto a respiração quanto a visão, além do paladar.
It says that not only does it affect your taste buds, it affects your breathing and it makes you cry. We move to the tomatoes. And the tomatoes are something I know rather well.
Como é que nós vamos cortar?
The technique about cooking tomatoes is
O rolo da faca, nós vamos tirar essa parte central.
remove the middle part and the end there.
Vou tirá-lo.
And you cut it in half.
Vamos retirar as sementes.
And then you remove the seeds inside the tomato. Okay, now we're moving to the spices, the elements of spice. This is cilantro and green onion, as we mentioned. So we're only taking half of the cilantro apparently, and about 2 of these spring onions.
Vamos lavar.
And now we're going to wash them.
Retiramos essa base.
First of all, we remove the root there. We're only keeping the leafy part.
Retiramos essa base.
Wow, interesting. They don't eat the onions, they throw them away. You use the sink to sort of remove the excess water. Okay? And then you put it inside this thing and you open it up. And that way you dry it and then you, interestingly, yes. To dry it, you sort of make a sushi out of cilantro. And there you have it, nice and dry.
Vamos cortar. Dá pra dentro junto assim. Tudo junto. Fica. Até ficar bem miudinho. Comida baiana. O coentro e a pimenta.
The most important part of Bahian cooking is actually cilantro and peppers. So how you cut your cilantro and what you make with it is key to having a good flavor. Okay, so this is the cilantro that's cut. It's about it. And now we're taking the spring onion leaves, which notice how he's put under it a piece of cloth. And he spread those things, and it's also
Diferente do coentro, a gente só faz isso, enrola.
Sim.
A cebola é diferente. Nós vamos apoiar, fazer isso. Ó. Apoiou,
okay.
passei. Ó, apoiou.
Here to dry it, all you do is you push on it, and then you remove it.
Nós vamos cortar.
And we're gonna cut it.
Junta todos.
It has to be really, really, really thin. They're really small pieces. You can't have big pieces of it. So you have to be really, really thin.
É importante ressaltar que antes de qualquer preparação é necessário se fazer uma mise en place, que não é nada mais nada menos que separar todos os ingredientes que se vão usar para facilitar a preparação.
He says that the most important part of the cooking of a dish is to actually organize and prepare the different ingredients that are going to be used. And this is how it looks right now.
Nosso próximo ingrediente vai ser o camarão, o mais importante.
Now we're missing the most important element of this recipe, which are the shrimp.
Nós vamos lavar e temperar.
So what we did was we washed them and then we cleaned them. And now this is our instrument. Try to remove as much of the water as we possibly can.
Vamos temperar.
Now
Vamos colocar nessa
we
panela.
put them inside a pot.
Vamos temperá-los com
And we're going to season them.
pimenta do reino branca,
This
molida.
is white pepper. White pepper, white ground pepper. Okay? He seems to be using what is the equivalent of whatever is necessary, which is essentially
Tudo em pitadas.
a couple of things. He puts salt in it. Those? dishes here tend to be saltier than we like them, so
Azeite de oliva.
that's olive oil. And we're using the oil fairly liberally.
Limão.
And now we use the lemon.
Essa espremida aqui.
And we're going to squeeze the lemon inside the camarão. And we're doing we cut 8 half lemons, and we're going to use 4 of them to squeeze here to season the shrimp. Now we're going to mix everything so that we're seasoning it nicely and that all the shrimps are taking the flavor.
É importante ressaltar que o limão, por ser muito ácido, ele desnaturaliza o camarão, assim deixa ele pré-cozido. Quando for ao fogo, não precisa levar muito tempo cozinhando. Ele fica com um sabor mais apurado.
So the key, the reason why they're using lemon is, yes, it's acid, but it has the ability to actually cook the fish, so that when you're marinating it into the shrimp, you're actually reducing the time that you use to cook the shrimp. And also, it gives and it enhances the flavor of the shrimp. So this is
No fim, pasta de alho.
garlic. That's garlic paste. Okay?
Nós vamos colocar
So we're putting maybe half a tablespoon of garlic paste in. Another half, so a total of a teaspoon.
sim.
And now we also mix it in.
Vamos cobrir
And now we cover it up,
com papel alumínio.
okay, with an aluminum foil.
Vamos deixar ele aqui por cerca de 15 minutos para ele pegar tempero e o sabor ficar mais apurado.
Okay, so you leave it covered for about 15 minutes because that's going to be enhancing the flavor of the shrimp and prepared. So he covers it with aluminum foil and he sets it aside. So as an accompanying dish to the moqueca is a farofa of oil
E o arroz de coco.
and rice with coconut.
Para o arroz, nós vamos precisar de coco. Nós vamos ralar.
So we're going to grate the coconut here.
Nós vamos pegar, ó.
Yes. Notice how he's grating it using the large part of the coconut grater. Like that. So he's cut it into.
E nós vamos precisar
The first thing we're doing is the rice. So here's a pan, similar size, about a hand deep.
Nós vamos colocar alho, cebola,
We first put the onion, about half of what we prepared, 2 tablespoons. And now the garlic paste, 1 tablespoon. Okay? Olive oil. Just a little bit.
e vamos usar
The equivalent of a capful.
vamos usar
Margarina. No, manteiga. This is butter. The equivalent of 1 tablespoon. And now we put it on the stove.
vamos mexer até dourar.
We're going to make it until it's golden. So, notice how we have melted the butter. It's browning and golden, getting the.
Ela secar, a manteiga secar pouco.
We're going to try to get the butter to dry, so he wants it to evaporate. Now we're adding the rice. Seguimos mezclando. We continue to mix the rice inside.
sempre uma beleza.
Não consigo pensar muito.
Movimentos inversos.
Julio.
Okay.
I still do anything.
So from the outside in.
I still do anything. No.
First we add water.
Adicionando água aos poucos.
We add water as it goes. Add a little, and we continue to turn, and we add more water, and we continue to turn as it goes. Note that the rice is basically absorbing the water. Now we're adding the coconut milk. We continue to turn. And then we add water to cover it. We're continuing to add coconut and water. And we're turning. We've added enough water to cover the rice.
Junto com leite de coco.
And we basically mixed it with coconut. La misma cantidad de leche de coco y de agua.
Não, leite de coco menor que água.
Less coconut milk than water.
Vamos deixar cozinhar
Now we're going to let it cook.
em fogo baixo.
Low fire.
Fogo baixo. Vamos esperar deixar ele cozinhar. Vamos para o nosso. Vamos agora fazer nossa farofa de azeite.
Now this is farofa, oil farofa. In a really large skillet, which is about hand deep. We put onion. Okay. Yes. We add garlic paste.
One tablespoon.
A tablespoon of garlic paste.
Michael.
Vamos adicionar. Manteca. No. This is palm oil. The equivalent of half a bottle, about 4 ounces of palm oil.
O azeite é muito forte. Então, se nós formos fazer a farofa só com azeite, ela vai ficar muito forte e vocês não vão conseguir comer.
Okay.
Então, vai quebrar. Olha a farofa que nós vamos fazer de azeite, colocamos manteiga.
So, palm oil is very strong. And therefore, in order to temper the taste of it, make it milder, you use the butter. And the butter tempers the taste of the oil. If you put too much oil, you're not going to be able to eat it because it's going to be so strong. And this is flour of mandioca, or cassava. Alright, so we're opening it up. And now we go on the fire. And we start mixing. So I am now melting the butter inside the oil. Okay. To make sure that it melts. Notice how it's beginning to fry a little bit.
Nós vamos deixar fry and onions and garlic.
Okay. Now we're going to fry the onions and the garlic into the oil. So he wants it to boil like this. And we keep turning. We're keeping mixing. I guess we're not letting it fry. We're mixing. And as we are mixing, we're lowering the the temperature, and now we're going to add the manioca flour inside. I'm continuing to mix as he's pouring, and I want to make sure that there are no, that I do it as quickly as possible because it's getting really hard really quickly. And ¿y vos también desde cuando tenías 10 años?
Desde criança.
He started cooking when he was 10. ¿Cuál? ¿Tu mamá o tu abuela? ¿Quién cocinaba en tu casa?
Eu.
¿Así? ¿Para toda la familia?
Yes.
He was cooking for his whole family ever since he was 10.
Sempre que cozinha.
Farofa.
Gosto de pirão, adoro pirão.
Quanto?
Uma pitada de sal.
Una pitada así. That looks like- Pero no se puede cocinar demasiado la farina. Si la cocinas demasiado es un problema. Si cocinas mucho, no hay problema.
Ela necessita cozinhar.
Okay. He says in order to be ready, you have to test it. He says he needs more salt. To me, it tastes like flour, but okay. Now he's putting salt in it. I can taste the oil, and I can taste the onion.
Yeah, we've been taking for every day, and then in the computer when we come home. We have 2 cups. I have one.
Now the farofa is done. Good stuff. Presentation-wise, he's presenting it as though there were waves in the ocean. We're now doing the decoration of the farofa, and to do so, taking the skin out of the tomato. He's made a rose out of the skin and is putting it in the middle. Very nice. He's cutting it into small pieces. Work on the stem of the rose.
Yeah, that's about it last year. And some of them. No, some friends of mine were going. Okay, I was gonna go with them. Last summer.
Nice.
Looking at the prices.
Like we did earlier. Make sure that we're getting in brown. Now we're adding coconut. Lots and lots and lots of it. Okay. Now we're going to add the rice onto the coconut that we had cooking. So we're trying to mix it in so that all the ingredients are nicely blended together. Now we're putting cilantro in. And we're testing it. I'm assuming we're going to need some sal, no? Oh, we'll eat for you if you want. No, I eat later.
I always eat dinner, man. Put mine aside. Onions? Oh. We're now putting the onions into the meal for the moqueca. Putting a lot of... Okay.
Nós vamos deixar o pouquinho fritar. A gente vai saltear, certo?
So
You fry
you let the onions fry a little bit.
The onion is preventing the oil from burning. So we cook the onions for about 5 minutes, and now we're adding the peppers in. Similar process, we're just adding them in and we're mixing. And to the recipe. Vamos saltear. Okay. We've now cooked the peppers for another 2-3 minutes, and we're adding the tomatoes, also cooked in julienne. Now we're adding garlic, at least 2 tablespoons. That's when it gets interesting. Getting that nice yellow color. Cilantro, lots of it. Notice how colors are beginning to be nice and even. We're putting some of that spring onion in. Toda.
fritada.
I'll have that. You can really smell the shrimp. This was done, by the way, by having small shrimp that were cooked, and then they were minced into powder. Now we're adding peanut powder. We're adding brown nut powder. So you've seen us adding nut powder. One of them is peanuts, and the other one is cashew nuts. Ahora we're going to take estos tienen sabor diferente de los otros pimentas que pusimos, ¿no? Sí. Mix or no mix? No mix, huh?
No.
Okay, we're now adding the lemon. Squeezing it in. I need to get myself one of those. Have you seen one of these before? Now we're adding some pepper.
When it's ready, you'll know because the amount of liquid has been reduced to about half. And all the ingredients are already cooked. And now comes the ingredient, the most important one, the shrimp that we let marinate, that had been cooking already in lemon oil.
That's cold.
¿Lo yo? Okay, so we're con las manos. So now with my hands, I'm putting it in. He said to make sure that I spread them around. Now we're mixing. Notice how quickly the shrimp is cooking.
Repare que assim que colocamos ele ganha uma cor
Sí.
rosada.
Está pronto cuando este está rojo.
Ele está bem rosado.
Está rosado.
Adiciona os camarões, deixa no fogo,
no fogo.
ferver. Mas 3 a 5 minutos está
3 a
pronto.
5 minutos.
Eu não esqueci.
Perfecto.
Tortilha.
Va a poner en YouTube.
Ah,
I am Julia Chai. ¿Conoces Julia Chai? ¿Tú no conoces? It's now cooked. And we're making it beautiful.
So are you having wine with this?
I don't know what we're
Você vai colocar no YouTube o vídeo?
É.
Coloque. E você
having.
You have been in Rio de Janeiro? Já foi no Rio?
No, Sao Paulo solo. Sao Paulo, Recife, Natal.
We're now cooking the sauce. As we're watching Gabriel cooking the sauce, he's taking all these little peppers, which are incredibly spicy, and he's putting them in the blender.
Olive oil.
Aceite.
But do the fins feel different? When they half of them speak those two, only they don't speak English. They are sweet to have different colors. We wash the cilantro and the leaves of the spring onion, and we put some olive oil to cover all the peppers. We put them in the blender. He's adding an onion, and this is the sauce. I'm surprised he's not putting any salt. Y tomate, no. Putting salt. And we're now going to the blender. Wow. It's strong. Where's my nostrils? When it comes to trying to understand or your next
Or where?
Introducing, we need the festa from the Tangalo. Here it is. This is Moqueca de Camarão café inglés. We want to thank Chef Gabriel Nunes for his valuable, extremely valuable lesson in Bahian cooking. Well done, Chef. Obrigado. Bon appetit. Let's begin. Begin.
Quero Guaraná. Arroz de couve, coco,